Hey, what's going on, guys? I am Jake from TodaysiPhone.com, and big news, the iPhone 5 comes out tomorrow. I'm just joking, or am I? Alright, but seriously, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of an iPhone 5 sandwich this week, so I can fulfill your iPhone 5 news, your other iOS related news, and maybe help you not be so hungry. So we're gonna start out with a piece of bread that is unrelated to the iPhone 5. Then we have some nice meat and cheese in the middle, which of course is iPhone 5 related. And then we have the last piece of bread, which again finishes off with a non-iPhone 5 related story. So let's get started. Our first piece of bread is the news that Apple may in fact be bringing iMessage capabilities to iChat on Macs. Mac Rumors has found some code in the Lion iChat framework that suggests that iMessage capability will be coming to the application. More specifically, they found labels for the time read and time delivered labels, which as you know are not in iChat, but they do appear in iMessage. So this has obviously led people to believe that iMessage will be integrated into iChat, and I gotta say, it's a pretty good idea. In fact, I was kind of surprised when Apple didn't announce this integration when they first announced iMessage, because it just kind of makes sense. You can message through all of your iOS devices using iMessage. It seems like a pretty big oversight to leave out Macs in the iMessage community. Now, if you remember, they did the same thing with FaceTime, where first they released the iOS application, or feature really, and then they released a Mac compatible program that can let you FaceTime from an iOS device to your Mac. So it really does make sense that they do a similar thing with iMessage. Okay, moving on to the first layer of cheese in our sandwich. Let me know when this sandwich thing gets old. Sprint CFO John Utener, I'm sure I'm saying that name wrong and I apologize, but right, the Sprint CFO John E, as we will call him, released some statements that, well, they didn't confirm that Sprint is getting the iPhone 5, they did sort of hint that an iPhone and Sprint are being talked about by Sprint executives. Now, some of the more interesting stuff from the interview is that Sprint is testing their network and trying to ramp up things to make sure that if and when they do get the iPhone, their network can handle it. Now, what's more, Sprint is under the impression that their network can in fact handle it, even with unlimited data plans. Now, this is awesome news because as of now, there are really no true unlimited data plans out there for new iPhone customers. AT&T and Verizon are both lost causes with the unlimited data, and T-Mobile, you could theoretically pay for an unlimited data plan, but they cap your data and slow you down after you reach a certain threshold, which to me seems absurd and a waste of money, and you definitely shouldn't do that. Now, like I said, these statements from the Sprint guy aren't really a confirmation. In fact, he said that they're ramping up their network and stuff, regardless of the rumors out there right now. But is it just me, or does that seem like a very strange thing to say if the iPhone isn't coming? It's like when a teacher is going to have a pop quiz and they're like, you know, you should study this stuff, it might be on a quiz sometime soon, and then they just wouldn't give you a quiz, which doesn't really make sense. Alright, next up, our bologna of our sandwich is... Okay, no, bologna is disgusting. Next up, our smoked turkey of our sandwich is the story coming out of the New York Times that says that the Apple iPhone 5 event will be just a couple weeks away. In fact, they go so far as to say, we're just weeks away from the announcement of the new Apple iPhone 5, according to an Apple employee who asked not to be named because he was not allowed to speak publicly for the company. Now, release date and event date rumors are nothing new. In fact, they're basically all we have nowadays. But the fact that it's coming from such a reputable source as the New York Times really lends further credence to the fact that the iPhone 5 event is coming up. Now, obviously this is very good news for all of you patiently waiting at home for the iPhone 5, but you might have to wait just a little tiny bit longer because apparently the September music event may be delayed until October because of some purported delays with the iPhone 5 production. But luckily, as of now, it doesn't seem to be affecting them too much, just, like I said, a couple weeks. 9to5Mac, where the iPhone 5 delay story originated, threw in a bit of good news with the bad news, and apparently they know somebody, or know somebody who knows somebody, who has seen the iPhone 5, and they say that it is a sight to behold. It's impossibly light, yet much firmer than the Samsung Galaxy phones, which are backed in plastic. The camera rivals point-and-shoot cameras and will be a major marketing point for this device. Very cool, very good stuff. The camera on the iPhone 4 is really good, so if they improve upon that, I will be incredibly pleased. Now, it's interesting that the camera is going to be a big selling point for the iPhone 5. I mean, in the past, it's been the 3G and then the Retina display. What's the one feature that could really make you want to buy an iPhone 5? Is it the camera? Is it maybe a bigger screen or a different form factor, like what's the one thing that you want to see out of this device? Let me know in the comment section down below. Hey, that kind of rhymes. And our final sandwich middle is made up of some renderings coming out of Casemate that show it iPhone 5. Now we don't see much from these renderings other than a corner of the back, which is aluminum, and the camera and flash, and then some little sliver where the volume rocker is. But the form factor looks good, and it lines up with previous iPhone 5 rumored designs, and Casemate is a pretty well-known and reputable source, so all things point to this being maybe sort of true. And finally, our last piece of bread is a really cool iOS concept video for a sort of redesign of the multitasking menu. Marcus Antonia de Limo Filo made this video, and it sort of takes a lot of stuff from WebOS and combines it with the already existing Apple multitasking menu and makes a very cool multitasking menu. You can see all the windows that are open, it's not just little icons at the bottom. Definitely head over to the post on today's iPhone and check out the video, it's worth a look. Alright, well that is all the big news for this week, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Definitely keep in mind that the links to all of these stories I talked about in this video are in the description down below, so go give those a look. And if you want to talk to me about anything I talked about in this video, or iPhone 5, iOS 5, or types of sandwiches, you can follow me on Twitter at TIP_Jake. Yes, the underscore is new. I hope it doesn't confuse you too much. And as always, for more news, views, and reviews, head over to todaysiphone.com.